What is up? It is your boy Omega SMG coming at you with a new video. This one, you know I had to do it too. I'm hopping on that Stranger Things bandwagon. This is gonna be a mini video on how to make the sound from kids from the Stranger Things soundtrack. Unfortunately, I cannot play kids. I'll get copyright strike, but this is what it sounds like. Well, I have the MIDI changed because I think it sounds nicer that way. But I made a few changes to it to make it sound good. Like originally there was a flanger on it. However, I thought it would sound better if like the flangy sound was on its own pad. So I'm going to break down how to do all of this. So first thing is you're going to need yourself some sort of Prophet 5 emulation. So here is your basic thing about the Prophet 5. You got two oscillators, you got pulse width modulation, keyboard track, and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's a pretty normal synth though. It is a synthesizer with, it's a few oscillators with a few envelopes and a low pass filter. So let's explain what's going on here, right? So you got yourself your two oscillators, and then it'll go and run through your mixer so you can mix it, and then it will, then if I got this right, I'm pretty sure it will go to your filter and then the amplifier. The amplifier and filter could be mixed around, but that's what I remember the signal flow as being. So let's say you start off with a saw wave. Oh, this is Prophet 5 emulation. No, not Piano 5. I'm too used to it, but yeah, that Prophet 5 emulation hurts my my CPU quite a bit. It does not like it. But let's start going over it. So Pro 5 2. So this is your initialization. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take oscillator B and we're going to turn it to a square wave. This adds a bit more like darkness to it because square waves are quite dark, at least in the lower octaves. They're quite dark. However, they can do quite a bit of high-end work. So I'm going to go ahead and copy all of our MIDI from this into its own pattern. I have a bunch of random patterns laying around from me actually like playing it out. And then this is like the bass note stuff. So this should actually be F, yeah. So take that F note. Okay. Yeah, this should all be in the final instance of it because I could keep on getting everything mixed up. But and then so this is what it sounds like with just that. As you can see, it's a bit overpowering, so I'm going to go ahead and turn down the volume, make it nice and quiet so that it doesn't blow up my ears next time. But this isn't all we're going to do with it. Let's get started with like modulating the filter. This is where, if we're being 100% realistic, you could do this in any synth. However, it was done with a Prophet 5 for the show, so I will be authentic. So let's start adjusting this. So it should have less of that, but higher cutoff. And then let's change this. Needs more release. Sounds really stop and go-ish right now, and I'm gonna fix that by increasing maybe filter release, maybe both. Needs a bit more of a dramatic scoop. It's supposed to sound like this. However, I have effects on that, so like without the effects it should sound like this. That is oh yeah, I have some resonance on it. I remember. You know, it's a pretty nice sound. So now we're gonna pop chorus on it. We want this to be a really heavy chorus as well. Okay, I'm gonna check my reference yet again. Okay, yeah, I pretty much have the rest of it spot on. So now let's start with the bass sound, because I figured out that the bass sound was a completely different synthesizer. It's still on the Prophet 5, of course, but the way I figured it out is I was just listening to it, and originally I thought it was the same thing, but then I realized that the release was a lot different. So this is what your bass should sound like. Wait, no, that's my pad. And is pretty much exact same sound as the other one, like your regular sound, but with much shorter release, much shorter decay. Of course, I was messing with the wrong one. So let's shorten this decay by a lot. Into what? Now, I threw some processing on it that was not in the original show. However, I thought it made it sound like 100 times more sexy, so I'll run through that. This is with all your processing. I don't know, I think with the effects it sounds a lot more lush. So when it came to this, I wanted to stick with stuff that they would have had in the 80s. So this is what I did. I used one of my favorite delays, Primal Tap. The reason I used the preset Double Trouble, this is actually based on a lexicon delay from the late 70s was pretty popular. I don't quite remember what the delay was called, but I mean, this is based off of something real, so I didn't think much of it. It just made sense, and this is what it sounds like with just that addition. It doesn't do much, but it does make it a bit wider. And in the original song, it is really wide because of that flanger that's on it. However, I didn't want to go with that. If you want to throw a flanger on this instead of doing all this other stuff and making a pad for it, you can do that. However, I don't like that sound. So then I threw my favorite reverb on, the LX480. It's Lexicon 480 reproduction. Lexicon 480 was a pretty big reverb of the 80s and early 90s. It was used a lot on rodeo, and so it's the 224. I personally prefer the 224. However, the best, this is a better emulation for the price. So I went with a fairly low mix, 43%. No pre-delay. Oh no, 24 milliseconds of pre-delay, and I shortened that reverb out time and then added it on, and it sounded thick. Nice and sexy sound. So now let's go over the next sound I did, which I don't think was. Oh yeah, okay, I'm not even gonna go over how to make this sound. So I took the opening pad, I added chorus and delay, pulled up the noise, and then I just messed around with it a bit, lowered that cutoff, changed it, took out the attack, and made it sound nice and sexy. This acted as that flanger sound, and then I added fruity flanger and a heavy compressor, because originally it sounded really wishy-washy like this. I didn't want that though, so I just popped a compressor on it and made it constant. Is it the easy way out? Yes. Do I care that it's the easy way out? No. So this is what it sounds like in full. It sounds nice and thick. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. And comment. Yeah, pretty much just make me rank higher in the SEO. This is your boy Omega SMG signing off. I'll have more videos on this subject later.